quote unquote tight leash that existed for you, that was put in place by fathers, that were adopted father or whatever, could have led to this way of life? Do you believe in that idea that a tight leash sometimes leads to the person then breaking the collar?
Yeah, I definitely think I've thought about it a lot, because I've like thought about this of like why I'm so passionate about it. But I definitely think, listen, I think however you grow up plays a huge part in who you become. But I think it was just kind of instilled in me of just I never understood it. Like even when they were like, even the boys, we would run around like in the sprinklers out in the front yard, and I never understood like, why do the boys get to run around in just swim trunks and we have to be like fully covered? It was just like, I don't know, I just never understood why it was so important. Like I should be respected no matter what. If I'm sitting here topless, I should be respected. If I'm sitting here in a suit, I should be respected.
Can I ask, was that before or after you started coming into your own body?
It was I think throughout, like even when I was like first grade-ish little, like I'd be like, I don't understand like
just
why.
An instinct.
Yeah, just kind of like why. Like I asked my grandma, like, okay, well, why do all my my cousins, all the boys, they get to run around literally in like underwear? They were just like in their little boxers running around in the sprinklers. Like, why are the girls taught you have to be completely covered in order to have the same respect as them? So I just kind of just
you didn't like the double standard.
Yeah.
From a young age.
But then you grow up. The thing is, you grow up, and then I think I appreciate the double standard now, because if I was a man, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. So there is a double standard, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing.
Are you capitalizing on the double standard?
Yeah, 100%.
I bet. There's a lot of double standards that exist between women and men.
Yeah.
Are all of them unfair?
I'm not going to say any, like, I don't think they're unfair, no. I mean, I will say, like, the pay shit, that's pretty unfair.
Example. Dude sleeps with a lot of women, he's a fucking boss. Woman sleeps with a lot of men, slut.
See, when it comes opinion based, it's hard to judge what's fair and what's not fair. Because like when it comes down to opinions and like who cares about what a girl's doing versus what a guy's doing, like that shit, like how are you really gonna judge if that's fair or not? When it comes down to like logistics of like a man and a woman at the exact same position at a job, a man can be paid more than her, and it's like it's value. Like I feel like that can be judged as unfair.
Totally agree.
I
totally agree. Not everyone. Everyone in this room, yeah, but there's a lot of people that
gender-based wage gap. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people out there who still believe that men are superior to women in the office or in the boardroom or whatever, and that shows when you look at the top levels of corporations and companies.
What about what's your? You said it was opinion based. What's your opinion on the double standard of promiscuity?
Promiscuity.
Nice word. Nice.
I mean, I definitely don't think it's fair. Like, I can get it because I feel like it's values that have been, instilled in us from very early time of like what an exact, woman's role, men's role, relationship role is. I don't think it's fair.
I don't know. This is the cleanest way that I could put it. My opinion, just clarifying it. I think if you're a slut, you're a slut. If you're a guy that sleeps around too much, I think herpes is herpes. If you get it, you got it. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna attack you.
That's not an opinion.
I
think it just kind of came into play. Like guys are more slutty than women.
100%. So my opinion is, if you can't put it in your pants, and every single person you meet, you have to get inside of. Like, okay, there's an issue. We have to talk about it. But overlying like the world's view on it, I was thinking about it, taking myself out of my emotions in my body from like a third person. I think the logic is there's a tiny difference from being penetrated and penetrating. I think that is what people think is kind of the differency of why it is.
I think it goes back way back to not being biological like that, but at the same time that instilled the beliefs that women's breasts and vagina should always be covered. I think it goes back to the beginnings of time. And in the beginning of time, I mean, the story of Adam and Eve, obviously. I think the beliefs were instilled that women are this celestial and very protected body, and men were not. Men were meant to go sow their seed, find a lover, settle down when they're ready, and women were expected to wait on a man to choose them. And I think as we continue to push on in society, that role is changing, and that equality is and the playing field is beginning to level. And there's still a lot of men who are holding on to the idea that men can do it and women can't.
I'm just thinking out loud, so nobody fucking
Everyone,
come at me.
Should I put him in a chokehold?
Maybe.
Just strangle him out?
Yeah, I mean, for the thumbnail, I'm down. What you were saying is this. I think everybody could agree this. I think women's bodies way more valuable than a man. Like,
Why?
I mean, like, I think this is how I see it. Both guys and girls always talk about how beautiful a woman's body is, or how pretty it is, or where they, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not guys and girls are sitting around looking at a guy's body. Unless
think
he's
that's
a fitness trainer and he's like, oh, okay, he's really working
Well,
on
why
his
is it
body.
more valuable, George, using your words?
What?
What makes it more valuable, George, using your words?
I honestly think it's a little bit more valuable.
Like how much?
do
Like how
babies
much
come
more
out of
valuable?
them?
Yeah. Well, look, it's important, but I don't know if it's more
But I mean-
valuable.
but
I would,
that
if
belief-
I had to
but-
put stocks in them, I'd put it in more in women.
By the way, I would too. I would too. I'm just contesting because I know people are going to be listening. Like, I'm a man. Dylan's back.
Dylan's back.
Dylan's back.
Dylan.
A woman can only potentially have a baby once a month, and a guy can spread his seed every day, all day, as many times as possible. So the value of that one thing.
Listen.
Oh.
I like this guy.
So you
man.
talk about quality, and men are just quantity.
Thank
go.
you.
Here's the.
That actually, I could get behind that.
Oh,
That makes
okay. So
sense.
the question is this: okay, if you have a car,
It's
if you
just-
have a car, right, and it's a Lamborghini, how many Lamborghinis do you see on the street?
Not a lot.
Exactly. So if we know about so and so, this girl, and she's every guy she meets, and this guy, same thing. Every girl he meets, he's like sleeping with them, right? Do you think the value is how precious is it?
What happened to the car?
That's what I'm saying. A Lamborghini you see every once in a while.
You're
It's
saying that's
more
the
valuable.
girl.
Yeah,
And
or the
men
guy.
are Prius.
I'm talking about how many times somebody jumps into a Lamborghini. It's very rare.
Unless you're Julia Rose.
Then you hit them both. Amazing. But
Wait.
My brother's
you
got a Lamborghini. My brother's got a bright blue Lamborghini.
wait a
I seen her in
second.
it on his Instagram story.
I think at the end of the day that's just you saying that is just the flip side of what we're talking about on this show. At the end of the day, we will end up in a place where human life is human life. No man is more
Will
valuable
we?
than any.
I
We
don't
will.
know.
I think we will. I think we're quickly on our way towards that. I think there's a lot of people out there who are thinking about things the right way. But as long as we look at the penis, which is the key to the lock, as a key that can go in a million locks, but the lock only being able to accept one key in its life.
Well,
I think we'll.
I know
What?
it's not. I mean, sometimes more than one key can go in one lock.
Now I'm having trouble with the analogy. Anyways,
Lamborghinis,
so-
we're vlogs.